Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Beneath the Ether. What exactly does that mean? If you have this is your first episode you're catching, let me explain what that actually means. There's a thin layer that exists between two worlds. There's the side that you see that it's family friendly, everybody likes it, everything's happy, everything's good. And the people you interact with, you trust. And then there's the dark side, the side there where people are not what they seem. They kind of, I guess you could say, go between those worlds. They're fake. They present themselves as upright, trustworthy people, and they're not. I've been using my experience with people in martial arts, namely my former instructor. And if this is your first episode, I go back and listen to some of the other episodes, because I'm going to talk about an organization that he is in charge of. And it's been around for several years, and a lot of information I found out about it, and the fact that there are people who still donate to this cause, I guess you could say, whether it be memorabilia or money or anything of that nature. So yes. So, the past few episodes I've been talking a lot about lineage, rank, Sam Lone Wolf and his connection to this fiasco that is. Sam will be clear, Sam Lone Wolf, Baron Shepherd, the Lone Wolf family didn't start this. It started with Gary Lee and his connection to the Black Dragon Fighting Society, and the attempt to usurp the authority that Sam Lone Wolf had of his martial arts organization, the system that he was head of, which a council that Sam Lone Wolf appointed, named Baron Shepherd head of. So there you have it. That's the gist of that story. So now we're going to talk about another organization that, in my research of this organization, I have found to be, what would they call it? Forfeited existence. That's the term that was used. So let me tell you about this organization. It is the Sport Karate Museum. Now, I have been to the actual Sport Karate Museum, where it's actually located. I have seen these artifacts. I know where they're stored. I know about the money that comes in, and I know how some of that money is spent. I also know that people have been told for years that Gary Lee is going to build a building and represent all the different martial arts styles by country. And tell you the truth, he actually presented me with the idea of designing a building, having a coffee shop in the middle, and I came up with the idea of making the building an octagon shape and having the coffee shop in the middle. And he actually displays the floor plan for that and gives the credit to somebody else. That upset me. But that's the least of it. That's the small part. That is the small part of the entire thing. You see, it's not about my being wrong. It's not about me not getting credit for something. What it is about is Gary Lee selling items in the name of the Sport Karate Museum, but saying, you're not buying it, you're giving me a donation, and I give you the item. You donate to the museum, I give you the item. The reason why he does that, folks, is because the Sport Karate Museum is in a state of what they call forfeited existence. What that means, I went and looked it up. What that means is that the Sport Karate Museum, as an entity, as a business, and even as a nonprofit, is behind on its taxes so much that it's not allowed to do business in the state of Texas. Which means he's not really allowed to collect money, sell items, or anything of that nature. However, if you donate the money to him, it doesn't have to be technically recorded. So he is working around the system by calling whatever he sells you a donation, and he gives you the item in return. On top of that, he asks for just monetary donations. If you make a donation here, well, we'll do this for you. Please leave it in his donation jar. Almost everywhere he goes, he has a donation jar, and always asks people to put money in there. I know I have run the tables that he has at tournaments. I've run those tables, and I have set that jar out for people to put monetary donations in. So where is the money going? That's the question. That's what you should be asking yourself. Well, it's not going for a building. I will tell you it's not going for a building. I know for a fact it's not going for a building because all the artifacts for the Sport Karate Museum are located in his house. I've gone through them. I've seen them. I have been in his garage where I've seen some of the artifacts, and have actually taught his students out of the garage. There's also his dining room, which holds large amount of boxes that have various items in it. He keeps promising that if there's enough money donated to the museum, that he'll build a building. It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. Over 20 years. It's been way over 20 years that he's been telling people that this is what he's going to do. So what exactly is the purpose of the Sport Karate Museum? He says it's protecting one warrior at a time. That's his motto. We're protecting one warrior at a time. Saving history. We're preserving the history so that these new competitors look at these artifacts from these old competitors, they see history, they're inspired. These new competitors don't care about history of sport karate. They don't. I did. I got to meet some great legends through this. I got to meet Jim Harrison. I got to meet Bob Wall. I got to meet the great Tim Kirby. Great guy, by the way. So Tim, if you see this, dude, I'm sorry I haven't seen you in years, but you've been stuck in my mind. I've got to meet, who else? Daryl Stewart, great guy. I have very little to say bad about some of these people. So, and I think a lot of them probably distanced themselves because they understood the person that Gary Lee is. Now I'm throwing Gary Lee's name out there. That's the one I had the I guess you can say the encounter with. There are lots of people out there like this, and it may not be it may not be a museum. It may be another project. It may be something else. They're asking for donations, or they're selling something, and they know that they can't legally do it. So instead of selling something, they ask for a donation, because donations don't have to be recorded. They don't have to be recorded. If you're actually running a 50C, usually they give you a receipt so you can turn in your taxes and say you donated that money to a legitimate 501c, and that's never done. There's never a receipt given. There's never any money given with a receipt saying it was for this. There will never be a building. Now, at one time he did, I will say this, at one time he did purchase, or he was renting a space and set the museum out there, but that didn't last very long. It cost more money to rent that space than the museum would be getting in. So now you have to ask yourself, well, if all this money is donating and there's nothing for it to be spent on, where's it going? It is going into Gary Lee's pocket when he needs money. If he's running short, he transfers money from the museum to himself. I have witnessed that. I've seen it. Now, I'm probably going to get myself into a lot of trouble for this because I'm saying these things, and I will tell you the truth. I do expect some sort of retaliation. I do expect it, because that is how people like Gary Lee and the people around him work. I'll give you a good example of this. When I was about blue belt, green belt, something like that, I was competing in this tournament. And one of his other students that was around, he was saying some unflattering things. He was saying some very, probably things he should have just kept to himself. He was actually saying that he was going to fight Gary Lee for the school because he didn't think Gary was a good enough teacher. A little bit of ego, but if I'm an instructor and one of my students challenges me to fight for my school, step in the ring. We'll settle it. That's how it works. That's how it should work, right? This guy is a grown man, and he's saying these things, and instead of calling him on the carpet and saying, hey man, you said you're going to fight me for my school, let's get in the ring, we'll settle this. No, Gary comes to me and says, I heard this guy saying such and such. I'm like, yeah, I heard him, but man, he's just all talk, don't worry about it. He goes, no, you need to silence him. You need to send him a message. I want you to end up fighting him during the tournament, and I want you to hurt him. I did. I was being the loyal student, okay? In my mind, I needed to still prove my loyalty. No student should ever have to prove their loyalty to their instructor. It's not demanded. Instructors should never demand loyalty from their students. Loyalty is given out of respect. The teacher, the instructor, is loyal to his students. He shows up, he teaches them, he pays attention to them, and he makes sure that they're growing the way they should. If they're not, he pulls them aside and he tries to find out what he can do to help them grow. That's what an instructor does. That's him being loyal to his students. A student's loyalty is not in the form of that, and it should never have to be proven. If a student is unloyal, the student will eventually leave. That's my philosophy. So I get in the ring with this guy, and I wait for the opportune moment, and I'm ashamed of this. I'm going to admit it though. The guy came at me to do a strike, and he presented his ribs, and I cracked them for him. Like I said, I'm not proud. I was being what I thought was a loyal student. I defended my instructor. But that's not how I should have done it. That's not how it should have went down at all. That's not what we should do. So this is kind of a two-part episode. I wanted to talk about the Sport Karate Museum, but I also wanted to talk about the Mafia mentality that kind of goes along with this underworld of martial arts that is. And that is pretty much how it is when you have people who demand loyalty and need their students to prove themselves. However, I will say this much. It is almost identical to the Mafia, because no matter how much you prove your loyalty, no matter how much you give, how much you sacrifice, no matter how much you do for that person, it will never be enough. You will constantly have to prove it. Case in point, Gary Lee had a stroke. I was at his house every other day. I sacrificed time with my family, my wife. I would get off work and go over to his house. There were times that when he was having an event, I went over during lunch to get something, to do something for him, and then came back. And then when I got done with work, I went over there and did other things. I sacrificed a lot of time and a lot of effort for him, and he calls me a disgruntled student, because when the truth came out about what he had done to Sam Lone Wolf and the Lone Wolf family, the disgraceful thing that he had done to them, I sided with the Lone Wolf family. I didn't side with him. I wasn't going to protect him. I wasn't going to shield him. I wanted him to be accountable for what he did. I wanted him to apologize to them. That he didn't wrong me, he wronged them. He continues to do so every day that he does not apologize publicly for the disgrace that he caused, for the forgery that he did. And that's exactly what he did when he issued certificates under Sam Lone Wolf's name posthumously. That's forgery. That gets a lot of trouble. He's a lot of trouble. So, that's pretty much what I have for tonight. I'm going to think about the next episode. I got to think very carefully where I'm going to step. But yeah, I threw this out there, and I hope it reaches all the right people. I hope that the people of the Black Dragon Fighting Society get to see this. I hope word gets to Gary Lee that the truth is coming out. And like it says at the beginning of the video, truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and neither you bend to its power, you live a lie. The great Miyamoto Musashi. I definitely picked that because that is one of Gary Lee's favorite people to quote. And they're often not even real quotes from him. So there you have it. I hope I'm enlightening people. I hope I'm educating people. Above all things, I want you to be careful out there. I want you to watch your instructors. I want you to watch the people you're around. Hey, maybe next time I'm going to talk about another guy. I won't mention him by name, for the sake of his family. For the sake of his family. But I won't mention him by name just for that reason. But he was he's in the same circles as Gary Lee. So we will leave it at that, and we'll bring that up next time, and why you should actually be very, very cautious with some people in the martial arts around your children. So y'all have a good night. Be safe out there. Keep your head on swivel, and definitely watch your instructors. They're teaching you, they're teaching your children, and be careful of the things that they ask of you. You never know who it is. But hey, I've been on the other side of that ether. I have seen that dark side, and I'm staying on this side of it to tell you what to look out for. Right? Y'all be safe out there. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Everybody who watches this video, if you like and share it, I appreciate that very much. So give it a like, give it a share. Hey, even leave a comment. Leave a comment, please. If you ask me a question, be happy to answer you. I think the email is in there for House Wolf Productions, which is basically House Wolf Productions does this, and the Grey Wolf Martial Arts videos as well. So that's me. So yeah, just shoot me an email if you have any questions that you don't want in the comments, and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can, as soon as I see it. And seeing it's a dedicated email, I'll see it pretty quick. So there you have it. Have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe out there, and we'll talk at you next time.